So far we did most of the analysis you can do as well within the homepage Our World in Data. Now it's time to do a new kind of analysis by merging multiple indicators to one data set and do a kind of correlation analysis between indicators, understand the deeper structure of the current measurements, and it's the starting point of analytics. We start as always, we read in our files. The files are in the array like the computer stored it, so it's a random sequence here. It's maybe better to sort the files list that we can really go from indicator 1, 2, 3, 4, that also our analysis is a little bit more structured. For this, I sort my files. So you can sort an array, even if the elements are strings, by the sort command. You see that they are sorting 1, 11, 2, so we have now a new sequence. But since I would like to have the indicators 1 to the end, I'm just resorting it by pushing it list to list to list position, and I have now a sorted list from indicator 1 to indicator 16. Loop now through all files to see if we can read it out and just print it or display it. This is just for your convenience to cross-check if all files can be read out, if the entity code in years everywhere, that we everywhere have the same structure. Because if you want to align different files, it's really important that you have an identical key of all files, that you bring data related to a key together. The key here would be the code and the year. A key is an identifier which is jointly across all files. So we can see renewable files. Yes, it works fine. So we can read in all files. The first step we have to do is to merge different data sets. And we have to merge them on a so-called normalized key. So what does it mean, merging two data sets? For this, we have two slides prepared. Imagine you have two files. One file comes with a timestamp 2001 to 2006, and we have missing elements between 2003 and 2005. You will see it in different indicators that you don't have values in each year. Another indicator has timestamps here 2001, 2, 3, and 4. There are different ways how to bring these two files together. It's called join operation, relational join operation, a so-called outer join on timestamp. So it means the key here would be timestamp, will allow us to merge on this timestamp. It's searching through all timestamps. So the complete list would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 here in between. 5 is not there, and whenever there's a missing element in one part of the file, you would bring a none in, a non-existing value. And this would be a so-called outer join. A left join, you would identify one file or one array, one data frame, like this two, the left one here with the year 2001, 2, and 6, and you join or you merge the other data frame to the first one, to the left one. And this enforces that only the timestamps which are in here are used. When there's a missing element, it's replaced by nuns, and all other elements are dropped. When looking on this two of results, also for the outer join, we see here that the year 2005 is missing. That means even if we merge maybe several files, it might be that years or information is missing. And for this, I recommend, if you really have to merge many different files and you want to be very sure that all years are in, all countries are in, you define your stable normalized key set first, that you define your index over all years, over all countries first, and then left join always against this stable index. And this is what we are doing now. Okay, so the first starting point is we read in a basic data set, we look on the code. So code itself means how many countries are in. And then we try to generate a complete list of years, starting maybe from the year 1980, and then ensure that all files are merged to this index. Okay, how can we do this? Number one, we read in one initial file. So we take this GDP per capita World Bank indicator 811, and we have here's a code and the year. The first thing is we extract the unique code of all countries. We know in the world we have over 190 countries as far as I remember. I don't know how many countries we have in the world list. And what we are doing here is we identify the data frame column code. You can access it also by this dot here. And then unique values. Only give back the unique values. And then if you have this unique code, we drop all duplicates and we end up in a single array or in a single data frame with 195 rows. Okay, we have 195 identifiers for 195 individual or independent countries in. So the next step is we would like to have, for each country, we would like to have a range of maybe starting from 1980 to 21. We would like to have an array of the years list from 1980 down to today. And we have to bring this now together into one data frame to ensure that each country has all years present and all countries are present. We are doing this here in defining now the full index. So we start with an empty index. The full index is coming with the year column and the code column. And then we go through each unique code and we append the data frame by the year and the code. Let's do this. And finally, we go through each country code and we append the year. Okay, I appended here from the year 2000. That means the last 20 years. That means we end up here in 4095 rows and 2 columns. And this is our full index set. If you want to go with a longer time history, you just have to change here the range. This basic index is the starting point to do the left joins, which we explained, to all files. And now we ensure the correct filling of all files. Let's merge maybe the first file, just to show you how this can be done. We read in one data frame, again, the 8.11 indicator. We drop the entity because we don't need it, the country name we don't need at this stage. Then we have this code here. So a very clear data frame now with a code in year. This is where we can join on, and the indicator GDP per capita. And what we are doing is we have the full index and then we merge. So the pandas data frame merge command means bring two data frames together. The full index, remember the full index was only the year in the code. And then with a new data frame, we merge on the left side means the first position here, on column year and code. So we ensure that all years and all codes are there. We run the script and we will see whenever originally the value was not there, there is a none. Because this is the definition of the left join. But we are sure now that the year 2000 is at least represented in the full data frame. So we denormalized the full data set. Okay, and now let's do this through all files we have just right now. We loop over all files. We have the file list, which is sorted from 1 to 16. We always read in the data frame. You can print it out if you want, the head. Then we ensure a renaming of the column, that we can identify the naming of the column itself, that we really have, you could say, the first that we really know which indicator it is. So we did this already, we go to the column names, we go at the third position, we strip away the CSV and replace the name in place of the data frame. Then we drop the entity. This is what we did. So the entity is a clear name of the countries. We don't need it here for our purpose here. And then the full index is always the merge of the current full index, the new data set left. And then we see if it's really working. The full index is cycled over and over again. That means with every merge, it's getting bigger with the next file. Now we do this really fast. I recommend that you store this kind of table directly because you don't have to pre-process it over and over again. This is a full index table, and I will provide this file as well to you if you have any problems to do this by your own. You at least have this full index table as CSV together as with comma separator, with a separator, semicolon. And the full index looks like this. We have 4095 rows. We have now 20 columns. So we have 18 indicators in. 2 columns are the index, the year, the code. And then we have really nicely sorted the different indicators in one big array. And you see how many nuns are there. Yeah? You see the irregularity. You see the irregularity in the entire data frame. Now it really starts to say, okay, how complete is this data set? I mean, we see a lot of nuns. Can we do really analytics on this? And I only imported the last 20 years, not the full list from 1960. I have to admit, I played around before, and I know that, of course, in the years 1960, not even less information is available. So starting from the year 2000, at least we have 20 years or X years of information. But you see, some of these indicators are really, really sparse. Yeah, only a single number in. Now, how can we check on completeness of the data? For this, I recommend to import or install the library Missigno. I do not know how to pronounce it, but it has a very, very nice visualization of the entire matrix of 4095 lines. And you can see on each of these indicators, whenever there's white, there's no value present. If it's black, there's a value present. Oh my God. This is our matrix we have designed now with 4095 rows. And there are some indicators which are really horrible sparse. It means there are really just a few indicators in. And remember, we have over 200 countries in this list. But this is your starting point of analysis. And this is also the truth for every kind of analysis you're doing. Data is never complete. There's always missing information, and you have to cope with it somehow in the best way you can do before you're doing an analysis. This concludes the first part, the data preparation. And in the second part, we will go now into the analysis part.